Welcome to today's episode of Health-Fit TV, where we're going to discuss health and wellness for the desk jockey. We're really going to try to break down a couple tools and tips that you can do to really improve your overall health and wellness and negate some of the negative things that can happen when you sit at the desk. I'm Dr. Christie. I'm here with Stacey Joiner. I really appreciate your time today. So give us a little bit about yourself and we'll go from there.
Okay, yeah. The name of my company is The Royal Treatment and my website is No Stress Workplace. And that's exactly what we try to do, is make it a no stress workplace. We work with everything from nutrition to fitness. We also do a lot of meditation on site, and we also incorporate massage therapy and all kinds of modalities to help people de-stress. Yeah.
Did you happen to have to buy that URL for people, or were you able to get that one?
Yeah, I got that one. I thought
that's a good one. Yeah, that's
yeah,
really good.
Yeah.
So, all right, perfect. So, give us, we've had a history of working together in the corporate setting in South Florida. You've been a guest on my podcast, The Modern Desk Jockey, and we really have had a lot of good opportunities to discuss our concerns for the desk worker. So, discussing with our audience right now, what are a couple of the biggest concerns you have right now for them?
Yeah, I think probably the two biggest ones is moving, or the lack of moving, and also stress and how to manage stress, because that comes up in all aspects of people's lives. So, and that's really my forte.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a big one. We discuss the movement aspect of things so much, and it's a kind of a combination of things. It's one is you want to get out of the chair a lot of times, but it's also getting movement and quality of movement. And sometimes you can actually do that in your chair, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one thing that we discussed on the podcast was chair yoga. So if you could dive into that concept for our audience, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. What I love about chair yoga, it can be done by anyone, anytime, anywhere, and there's really no restrictions, so anyone can just do with whatever they're comfortable with. But the whole idea with chair yoga is taking yoga that you would do on a mat and adapting it to the chair, so that you are not only getting the movement in all the different areas of your body that might be stiff sitting at the desk, but also incorporating the breath, because that's one of the biggest things, is the inhalation and exhalation also start to de-stress the body and also de-stress the mind. So we love it because really anyone can do it anywhere.
And you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You're
Yeah.
decreasing some of that stress and you're improving some of the mobility. So I want to put you on the spot here a little bit. If you can give us two different chair yoga poses.
Sure.
And then we'll kind of dissect it from there.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the big ones that we do is basically cat and cow in a chair, getting the extension and flexion of the spine. So I'm just sitting
with you.
Okay, sitting at the front of the chair, just bring your hands to your knees and sit up nice and tall. And then as you do that, you would just start to tuck the belly and round the spine to the back of the chair, and the head comes down. So you have kind of like a C curve with the spine. And you're in an exhalation. As you inhale, you're bringing yourself up. Now slide your elbows back, lift your hands off your lap, and squeeze your shoulder blades, opening up the chest. Yeah, and then as you exhale, tucking the chin, tucking the belly, rounding down. And again, inhale, we rise up, opening the chest, sitting over the desk all day. Exhale, and we round. And basically what you'll be doing is just kind of going back and forth with the breath and the movement and getting that extension and flexion, getting the spinal fluid moving along the spine, as well as releasing tension in the chest as well, because a lot of times we're kind of hunched over on the desk. Yeah, so getting that opening as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Before you move to the second one, I want to interject a little bit with the breath. We both know the value of the breath from the stress standpoint, the parasympathetics, all the different things that breath is important for. But one of the things you really want to make sure that you are addressing is paradoxical breathing, or faulty breathing, actually. So a lot of times, and I'm going to exaggerate a little bit here, but what's happening with a lot of people is when they breathe, they're breathing up through the chest and shoulders versus through the abdomen where the diaphragm is. So when you're doing this, or when you're trying to really focus on improving your breath, really get it from the abdomen. And it's more like that than like that, and that causes all kinds of neck, shoulder issues, as well as just not getting the proper breath in. So
absolutely, yeah, no, that's very important. Good. So the next one, actually, why don't we just actually raise our hands, because most of the time you're on a computer, and splay your fingers really wide, and then open and close, make little fists. Inhaling, stretching up. And exhaling, making a little fist. Just do that a couple times, just opening and closing. Good. And then remove your hands around from the wrist, just kind of moving in any direction, it doesn't matter. Inhaling and exhaling. And then go in the other direction. Good. And then shake it out like you're losing your mind a little bit. Yeah. And so laughing is also good for distressing, right? Yes. So just kind of move it. And then just place your hands on your lap. Maybe even just close your eyes just for a moment and just feel the energy at your hands. Just by doing that. And again, we're sitting at the computer most of the day with our hands and using that on the computer. So that makes, just some movement, oxygen to the fingers, getting it. A lot of times you see people like this all day long.
For sure.
So just kind of, even just to do that kind of just movement really, really makes a big difference.
Similar to the one that I've talked a lot about, and we give our patients, we call it Brugger's postural relief. And so it's the opposite of this. So if you're sitting like this all day, you get to the edge of your chair like that, you kind of, spread open the feet a little bit, shoulders up, sternum up. You're not going to really pull back. Arms externally rotated, and then it's just from there, it's the breathing. And it's really, trying to get that good abdominal breathing and just reset that posture.
Yeah, and that's almost like doing mountain pose. Just standing at the front of the mat, right? You would just do the same thing, just standing there and just being aware. And I think most of us are not aware of what's going on because we're using our outer vision. So even just closing the eyes at your desk, hands out, just close your eyes, just breathing, really get a sense of what's going on in the body. Because most of the time we're kind of, like you say, hunched over the desk. We don't even realize it. But by standing and making that, that awareness there.
So I think if you really incorporate this into your micro breaks, so if you combine getting up and moving around out of the chair and adding things to the chair, you'll be able to negate a lot of the things that's going on from the sitting perspective. You can also, most of our desk workers, we call them desk jockeys, but they're also driving a lot. They may be airplane travel a lot, and you can do a lot of these things as well during those times. So is that something that you recommend they do?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I say, even just driving on 95, you're feeling stressed, a lot of traffic, even obviously keep the eyes open, but just breathing, deep breaths going from the belly, ribs, and coming up and doing the reverse will automatically bring you back into that parasympathetic nervous system, relax you so that you can have a smoother ride. Because there's some things that we just can't control. So what we can control is how we feel about it and how it feels to our body and all the different muscles.
It's going to help you from a physical standpoint, musculoskeletally, but it's also going to help you from a mental, mind, and performance standpoint. And you never know, if you perform better, maybe you get a raise, maybe you get moved higher up the food chain of corporate ladder, right?
So, like my dad always says, never let them see you sweat, but they don't teach you how. So this is it. So just to calm yourself down so that you look composed when you go in and ask for that raise.
And there's even other things, like if you're walking around and you function in life in poor posture, then there's a little bit of an issue with that from a mindset standpoint. Absolutely. People see you in a good posture and you see really healthy looking posture, people are going to have a different viewpoint of you potentially, and so it's
absolutely how they react to you.
Absolutely. So really focus on some of those chair yoga poses. I know there's many others. So if someone was interested in that, because I'm getting big into yoga in a lot of sense. I do a lot from home now. I'm lucky where I don't sit for a living, so I don't have to deal with it as much as the person that does. But how could they reach out to you, get a hold of you if they want more information on this type of information, whether they're a desk worker or a corporation? How can they get a hold of you?
For corporate, it would be No Stress Workplace is the best place to see what we do and all the different offerings that we have. But even individually, if someone or a client of yours or a patient of yours just wants to do chair yoga, I recommend the YouTube. Just going on there and typing in chair yoga and just start to get familiar with some of the movements. And then once you learn them, of course, you can do them on your own. It's always nice to have that guide, But YouTube is really a great resource, or even just any of the local the yoga studios as well.
Perfect. And then one last thing, I know we had talked about it before. Another thing we were discussing was hydration. Could you give some tips on that as well? Because I know that's something you work a lot with, and I've seen you do that with some of the corporations you're working with.
We always find that, everyone always says to drink more water, but it becomes difficult. Some people just don't like the taste of just water. So we really recommend to do infused water, maybe infuse it with some mint leaves or cucumber or even your favorite fruit, and to create a little bit of flavor in water. You can set it up the night before, maybe get a big jug that you would put some water in and put some of the herbs or fruits or vegetables in it, and just let it infuse overnight, and then the next day take it with you to your desk so that you have it. And people do tend to drink more. Or if you like, even creating some herbal teas, some cold herbal teas that you can do the night before, and then have it with you at the desk, because people tend to drink more when it has a little bit of flavor to it, and obviously no sugar.
No, it makes sense. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was a lot of
you.
information. So just to kind of reiterate, movement, mobility, you can do it on the chair, outside of the chair, get it into your life for sure. Help with some decreased stress. Stress management is something that Stacey works a lot with the desk worker, and some of the tips she gave today is helpful. And then water is vital. Any type of that nutrient-based diet and hydration, you got to make sure you're doing that. Otherwise, it's all for naught. If you've got perfect movement in your life and you've got stress relief, it's going to be hard to have those if you don't have proper nutrition, but that can offset the whole thing. So make sure you're doing all of those. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. And remember to breathe.